In today's video, I will be attempting the hardest rebuild challenge I have ever done in Football Manager, to be perfectly honest. Today, I will be rebuilding the worst team in Scotland. If we dive into the game, you can see I will be taking charge of Dumbarton FC. Now, there's a few things I could have, or a few teams I could have picked if we go and take a look actually at the Cinch League 2, and I'm sure people are going to say, Steve, why didn't you do Bonnyrigg Rose? They are one of the worst teams in the Scottish League 2 as well. They're interesting, but take a note of this in the top right hand corner. They've got 5 for training facilities, 5 for youth facilities, 5 for junior coaching, 4 for youth recruitment. Dumbarton don't quite have that. They've got 7 for training facilities, 3 for youth facilities, but -1s for both junior coaching and youth recruitment, meaning they don't have any. I don't have a reserve team. I don't have a youth intake as things stand. So this is going to be very, very interesting. I will also say, if we do go into their overview, they've actually won the Scottish Top Flight as well. So I think as a team that can actually be rebuilt, I think this is actually a good one to do. They won it in 1892. It obviously wasn't the Cinch Premiership back then, but they've got a history. They've won the Scottish Cup as well, once as well, 1883. Twice they've won the Cinch Championship and League 1 and League 2. They've got a couple of titles in there, but they now do find themselves down at the bottom. Now, if we go and take a look at the league, you can see some interesting teams in here. Albion Rovers and Athletic, obviously Bonnyrigg we've touched on, Elgin City, East 5, Stenhouse Muir. There's some interesting teams down here, and I actually don't think, if we take a look at the season preview, we are favourites to go up. So Bonnyrigg Rose as well, they were one of the most recently promoted teams, so I believe they've never been in Football Manager before, so they are an interesting proposition. But Dumbarton really felt like, to me, the right choice. We are the favourites to go up, even with me in charge, so that's going to be really interesting to see how that pushes on. But ultimately, I think we're going to do quite well, and we're going to see where we can get this team in 10 seasons time. Now, I will say I'm going to be using GYR's Incredible Hulk tactic. That is the one up on the screen. I haven't used this since the latest match engine has been released, so I wanted to try it out for a 10-year period, basically a 10-season period, and see what actually happens with it, because, as I said, haven't used it for a while, would like to see what happens with it this time around. This is the team here. Now, I will be honest, I don't know any of these players, so we're just going to have to see. Obviously, we seem relatively well balanced at the moment. 2 good strong centre-backs by the looks of things. One of them, Peter Grant, is a guy on loan from Clyde, but he actually looks very, very good for the level, for what I need. He can do what he can do, and he can do it well, but that's about it. We've got this guy as well, Stuart Carswell. Again, looks quite good. 29 years of age, Scottish bloke, 6'2". He's okay, again, for the level. And then we've got this guy, Russell McLean, 24 years of age. This guy, 6'4" as well. So he's a bit of a target forward. 8 pace, 8 acceleration. Is not what we're looking for in this particular instance, but we'll see what happens in season number 1, and then maybe we'll look at making some changes. But the main things I want to improve, I want to take this team to the top as high as I can. Obviously, once we get into the Scottish Premiership, that's going to be very interesting, but I also really want to change the facilities, get ourselves a new stadium. We got a 2,000 capacity stadium here, built in 2000, but if we're pushing on towards the top of Scottish football, I'd like something a bit better. And obviously the main thing is actually, let's get some junior coaching and some junior recruitment, because I'd love a bit of a youth intake. Let's get through season number 1 in Cinch League 2 and see how we can get on with the worst team in Scotland. So the end of the first season is here, and we did exactly what we needed to do. We got ourselves promoted, top of the league. We were champions in Cinch League 2. Now, I will say we are part-time at this stage. A lot of the teams in this division are as well, but we are part-time, and I'm hoping sooner rather than later we get that nudge to go professional. But we won the league, which was our main goal. We had a little bit of a ropey start, but obviously it's teething, learning a new tactic and stuff like that. But then for the most part, we stayed top of the league, and we stayed up there for a consistent amount of time, getting 73 points, winning the league by 8 points in the end over Elgin. And Stirling Albion then got promoted via the playoffs which if we have a look here, yeah, it's absolutely crazy how the promotion relegation stuff works in Scotland. It absolutely baffles my mind. In the Scottish Cup, we got to the 4th round, guys, and we got knocked out by Queen's Park. We got knocked out in the group stage of the Premier Sports Cup as well, and knocked out in the 4th round by Falkirk of the SPFL Trust Trophy, which I assume is for lower down teams. So we'll have to see. This is like the big Scottish Cup. Premier Sports Cup, I assume, is like the Carabao Cup equivalent in Scotland, because I know these fixtures happen well early in the season. We have them like basically right at the start of pre-season. It's absolutely crazy to have some of these league fixtures here, but yeah, we've done really well. We've done what we needed to do, guys. We've got ourselves promoted. We're still in the minuses for junior coaching and youth recruitment, but we are getting promoted. We are still a semi-pro team, and we'll be playing in Cinch League 1 next season. If we go and have a look at the finances though, guys, it's not looking great. Our overall balance is okay, especially for this level, 190 grand in the bank. They've given us a little bit of a transfer budget, but I'll be basically sliding it all into the wage budget and using as much of that as possible. As you can see on screen, our wage budget's basically doubled over the course of getting promoted. So in League 1, we're going to have to see what we can do with double the wages. I will say, if I go and take a look at this squad though, and we look at it by when people are expiring their contracts, all the ones I've just highlighted, they are expiring at the end of the year. There's going to be some interesting moves to happen here, because I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't want to promise too much and give long contracts to some of these people, because it's just not going to work, because I kind of want to recycle the team every season, every 2 seasons at least, until we get a little bit more stability. So we're going to have to see what we can do. Calvin Orsi was our top goal scorer for the team. He got 21 goals, 9 assists for the guy. He was obviously playing as a striker in this Incredible Hulk formation, and he did pretty well. He was our top goal scorer, also got our highest average rating as well, joint with the most assists as well, so he did very well. And if we expand the league just to show the league table all the way, there we go, you can kind of see we're relatively consistent throughout the most of the season. 22 victories, 7 draws, 7 losses, 73 goals scored, 50 goals against, so we conceded a lot more than we probably should do. But let's see what happens. Let's get some players in for season number 2 and see what we can do with this semi-pro side. So we have a transfer update for season number 2, and I'm going to be perfectly honest, guys, I'm not going to run through everybody here, because this list is long. It is really long. We've picked up lots of free transfers. As you can see, we've basically rebuilt that whole squad, because if we take a look at this and the release players, I let that many players go, so I needed to fix things. So if we go on to the all transfers, you can kind of see we've basically built ourselves a whole new squad here. I will say I have now got myself a partnership with Celtic, which is really useful, and we've got 3 of their players on loan. Caleb Goldie comes in as a fullback option for us. Daniel Cummings comes in as a striking option for us, and Corey Thompson as well comes in as a central midfield option. So I've kind of tried to improve in 3 consecutive areas of the pitch there. We are still trying to make a couple more things happen, a couple more incomings. I got on loan Jamie Bullock on loan from Hibs, and another guy, Joe Dixon, on loan, as well as this free transfer of Daryl McHardy, which if we go and take a look at the team, guys, and we quick pick without restriction our best 11, this is what we're looking like now. So we still got a little bit of balance, but I think the overall balance is a little bit better. Where we were struggling in certain positions last time, I feel like we're much more well-rounded. Obviously the loans in from Celtic as our affiliate club really do help as well. Obviously if we go and take a look, oh, I thought they were my affiliate club. Maybe they just loaned me all of their players. I thought they were an affiliate. Maybe not. I can't remember. I will say, guys, I've been working on this 10-year one for quite a long time. So season 1 and 2, it was quite a long time ago. But anyway, we've got these 3 lads coming in from Celtic. We're trying to get a couple more players. I need another centre-back before we start the season, but it is what it is. We're about to start the League Cup phase. We've had 2 pre-season games and things have gone okay so far, but we'll see how we get on. If we go and take a look at the competitions tab, these are the competitions we do have the exact same 4 as last season, but the main expectation for the board is to basically be competitive in all the cups and avoid relegation in Cinch League 1. If we take a look at some of the teams in here, you can see the likes of Dundee probably shouldn't be in here, I would imagine, but there's some interesting sides in here. Dunfermline Athletic were the title holders last season. If we take a look at the season preview, we are predicted to finish in 7th, guys. Dundee relegated last season. They are 1 to 10 to win the league and go back up, so that is kind of what you would be expecting them to do, and we're kind of in that shuffle in the middle of the pack. If we go and take a look at the club info, I will keep touching in on this. Still no change in the facilities, still no change. We're still semi-pro, we still don't have junior coaching, we still don't have youth recruitment, so we're just going to have to see what we can do throughout the course of the season. For season number 2, again, I just want to stay in the division. I don't want to be involved in the promotion relegation battle. Just somewhere between 5th and 8th is good for me for season number 2. Let's see what happens, guys. Okay, so season 2 kind of got a little bit away from me. We actually got ourselves promoted in that promotion relegation battle. We will be playing championship football next season. Now, I will talk you through what happened, because Queen of the South did go on to absolutely dominate. They won the league relatively comfortably, 4 points clear of Falkirk. Falkirk, Dundee and ourselves go into a little bit of a playoff, and then we get into this playoff here. Now, if we take a look, oh my goodness, I cannot control this whatsoever. We did get the job done against Dundee. There we go. You can kind of see it now. On aggregate, we play each other twice in this League One Championship playoff sort of semi-final thing. We play a team from the division above, as did Dundee. We both won from our division below, so then one of us gets promoted, I think, is the way that this kind of works. In the first leg, we obviously beat them 2-0, and then in the second leg, we lost 2-1, but the victory at home was enough to see us go through and get ourselves promoted to the Cinch Premiership. We were knocked out in the 4th round of the Scottish Cup by Hibs, group staged in the Premier Sports Cup as to be expected, and then knocked out in the 4th round of the SPFL Trust Trophy. And I will say, our form towards the end of the season, guys, was ropey. We drew with Falkirk, lost to Stirling Albion, lost to Dundee, lost to Kelty Hearts, but it's just our home games that basically allowed us to do good things. So we took on Cove Rangers in this first playoff, as you can see, won 2-0 at home, then lost 3-2 away to go through 4-3 on aggregate. We did the same against Dundee. We beat them 2-0 at home, lost 2-1 away to go through 3-2. So our home form is really what is dragging us through for the most part, because it was a patchy season. We started off relatively well, and then things kind of lacked a little bit of consistency, to be perfectly honest. But we got ourselves promoted, which is not what I actually wanted. I wanted a season of consolidation, to be honest. We are not good enough to be in the Cinch Championship. That is for absolute certain. I will be trying to get the club to turn professional, because as things stand, it's not happening. If we go into our finances tab, you can kind of see our committed spend on wages. I've been really cheap with it, actually. We're trying to keep things as cheap as possible. Our current committed spend is $2,800 a week, and we've got a wage budget of just over $11,500, because again, if we go into the squad, you can kind of see the certain level of players here that are all expiring this season. It's this top selection from Dean Fulton up, and as you can see, based upon their star ratings, it's not kind of at the level that we're looking for. So I will clear these boys out and try and rebuild a few more players to go into the Cinch Championship. I think we're going to get battered this season. Transfer update for season number 3, and yes, we've kind of done the exact same thing again. We've released a few players, and we've kind of boosted some of the players into the team, and taken a look at some of these bodies that we've been able to get in. I only knew one of them is Jai Semenyo, because his brother used to play for Bristol City. Anton Semenyo is now a Bournemouth player. He's the only one who I actually knew of. I don't really know any of these other guys. If you do from lower leagues of Scottish football, that's great. Fair play to you. But I just don't. If we go into the tactic to sort of showcase how things are looking from a stats perspective and a star rating perspective, I think we've improved quite a lot. Joshua Eze, I will touch on. Bayern Leverkusen let this guy go, and for some reason he decided the second tier of Scottish football was the one for him. He looks really, really good. I will touch on this guy as well. Come in from Southampton, a former Exeter City player, Keggs. Looks relatively well-rounded, lots of double digits in a lot of areas for a box-to-box midfielder to play in midfield for me. Kamara is another big one. Amadou Kamara come in from Toulouse over in France. Again, I don't really know how I've been able to attract these players to play in Scotland for 350 quid a week, but it's happened. It's happened, guys. I don't understand. And we've been able to get in this guy up top, Enzo Baglarelli, he looks quite good as well. 16 determination is quite nice, relatively even physically, decent enough off the ball, and 12 finishing. I think he could be a solid striker for us in this advanced forward role. We are lacking a little bit in the fullback spot, in the left back area, and in the centre mid area, but we've got a lot of bodies in the squad now, which is something we didn't have last season. So I'm happy with how this team is looking, despite it not looking very Scottish anymore. But I think I'm quite happy with how we're progressing. This is the Cinch Championship. Yes, Championship. We are expected to finish in the relegation playoffs. That is exactly where I expect we're going to be as well. Some interesting sides in here, as you can see. If we take a look at the Cinch Championship, yeah, I really think we're going to struggle this year. We are 200 to 1 to win the division. As you can see, we are predicted to finish stone dead last. Queen of the South, who got promoted as well, and 9 to 1 to win the title. We are 200 to 1, and I will say, you know, teams like your Kilmarnocks, they're professional. Inverness, they're professional. Am I the only semi-pro team in this division? If I am, that is disgusting. Hamilton, they're pro. Inverness, did I check them? Yeah. Kilmarnock, yeah. Queen of the South, they're professional and they got promoted as well. Am I the only semi-pro team in this division? I'm the only semi-pro team in this division. I can't even do proper training with them. This is all I have. I have 4 training slots. I can't do any match previews, no match reviews or anything. This is not going to go well, is it? We're going to get through season number 3. I'm expecting a relegation on the CV this time around. I'll tell you what, guys, we definitely punched above our weight. Those free transfers that I've been able to bring in really have helped this team, because we actually finished in a playoff. But it was a promotion playoff, despite being a semi-pro side. We did lose to Ayr United, so we will be playing in the Cinch Championship again next season, which is good. I think the rise, the facilities, the infrastructure wouldn't have been able to handle playing in the Premiership just yet. We got knocked out in the 5th round of the Scottish Cup by Motherwell, group staged again in the Premier Sports Cup, and knocked out in the quarterfinals of the SPFL Trust Trophy, this time by Dunfermline Athletic. If we take a look at the league table, though, guys, we did finish in 4th. Hamilton get promoted as champions. Ayr United do go up, obviously, via this playoff. Enzo absolutely dominated the division. 23 goals for him. I said he looked quite good. I was hoping he would be quite good, and he very much was. Queen of the South and Dunfermline were the other teams in that playoff there. And if we have a look, that playoff final, Ayr United versus Dundee United, they get themselves through. And if we have a look at this one, you can see the semi-finals there, Dundee and Inverness. Inverness beat Dundee. This system is so confusing to me. I just don't understand it. If you take a look at our run towards the end of the season, we did get ourselves into the playoff picture. We did beat Kilmarnock, Queen's Park and Greenock Morton before the end of the season. Then we took on Queen of the South, and again, much the same as the playoff last season, we did win our home games, but we lost our away legs. So we won against Queen of the South, 3-1 at home. Then we took them on away. We lost 1-0. It's fine. We push forward. A team that we've played a lot of, Queen of the South, actually. Ayr United, we beat them 3-2 at home and then lost 4-2 away from home. Ayr United dominating, to be perfectly honest. They had a good season, and they find themselves getting promoted into the Premier League, Scottish top flight. I can't remember what it's called. Let's have a look. The Cinch Premiership, of course. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when we do get ourselves promoted eventually, but this club wasn't ready for it. If I go and take a look at the club info, we do now have junior coaching in the youth recruitment. It is no longer -1. We have now enabled that. I had to beg for it, but we got it. I'm intrigued to see what a youth intake of 1 youth recruitment and 1 junior coaching looks like, along with our 4 youth facilities. It's going to be interesting to see what happens, but the progress is slowly being made off the field. I keep asking for this professional status. They do not want to give it to me. So maybe we need a season of consolidation in the championship, which is what we've done. And then maybe next year they can give me something to turn us pro. That would be fantastic, because if we go into the finances, 375k in the overall balance. Again, I've got another 4 or 5 grand-ish a week to work work my magic on this squad, because you can see some of these players, I'm not paying them an awful lot, because as you can see, we've got these boys here whose contracts are all expiring. Let me select them all. You can see ranging from 30 all the way up to 350 quid a week. So the wages at this level aren't huge, and this is what a youth intake at this level looks like, because as you can see, I have all of these boys here, and I don't have a reserve squad yet, so they're just in my first team squad. This club's a mess. This is the best one of them. Charlie Anderson looks okay. He's got 16 determination. He's fairly determined. He might turn into an okay tier player. Let's get through this summer window. I think it's going to be another upheaval of a lot of players, and see what we can do for season number 4. Still staying as a semi-professional club. A much quieter transfer window going into season number 4. I built up the depth of the squad last summer, so now it was time to add a few quality additions. As you can see, 0 transfers out. We did release a couple players, but the players that have come in now, we've got Robbie Fraser to play at left back. He looks quite good. I'm quite happy with him. Let's expand him fully so you can kind of see his full career. I'm quite happy with him. 22 years of age, a former Scottish under-21 international. I think he can really improve us. That was an area where we were really struggling last season, so Robbie Fraser comes in there. Matt, this guy Matt comes in. Olusunde comes in, former Wigan, Burton, Preston, Rotherham, Manchester United. This guy's been everywhere. New York Red Bulls academy player, now comes into play for us as a right back option. Again, a bit of a depth option there, which is really nice to see. John Mahan comes in, Irish youngster, 25 years of age, as a centre-back for us. Obviously, we have to replace some of the loan players that we did have last season. The 3 boys from Celtic, the 1 guy from Hibs as well. The guy from Hibs was very, very good at centre-back, so he comes in as a full-time replacement for him. Also, this guy, Romian Berthlin? Yeah, sure. A former Lyon player. We are pulling in some of these European talents, boys. I'm not going to lie. Comes in as a Mazzala, and I think he's one of the best players in our division. Great off the ball, decent enough physicals, 13 pace, 12 acceleration, looks quite good, nice high vision work rate, and all of that good stuff. So it's very interesting to see how he's going to get on. He's now valued at 2k to 20k, and as I said, he came in on a free. He's played games, he has played a single game in Liga for Lyon, so they must have thought something of him to give him a game last season, even if it was a sub appearance. And we've got this guy in on loan from Swansea. Now, I'm not going to even attempt to say this guy's name, but we needed a bit of a keeper upgrade, and Alexi Rojas is one of those players. As I said, comes in on loan from Swansea City. So the team, if we take a look at the boys, this is how the boys are looking right now. Enzo, I need to have another good season up top. I think he's going to go on and go from strength to strength. This midfield 4 of Kamara Thompson, the guy I can't say, and Kegs, I'm really intrigued to see how they do get on. This is a much stronger team than we had last year. The young players that we did have, they've really gone on and developed another season with a couple of key additions. I think we're ready. I think we are ready to challenge, despite still with my protests, we are still a semi-pro level team. If we go into the competition style, we do have the same 3 cup competitions. I'm not going to keep touching on them, guys, because we already have had 1 game of our Premier Sports Cup and we drew it. So if we go and have a look at the Cinch Championship, this is the main one. This is the bread and butter. If we take a look at the season preview, last year we were 200 to 1 to win the title. This year we are 50 to 1 to win the title. We are predicted to finish in 9th. Dundee United have been relegated. Their squad is ridiculous, and they are 1 to 91 to get promoted again. So you bet £1, you bet £91 on this to get them to get promoted. You get £1 back. Their team is exceptionally good. I think we're gonna absolutely struggle against them, but let's see what we can do. We got into the playoffs last time around. Let's see what we can do in season number 4. Season 4 is in the books, and we got ourselves promoted. Yes, we were back in that playoffs, and we got the job done this time around. Yes, we got a revenge on Ayr United. They got themselves promoted via that playoff last season. This season, it was our time. They were in the relegation section of the Premiership in the division above. We were in the promotion section of the Championship, and we got the job done. If you bet your 91 quid on Dundee United, I hope you enjoy your pound. They went up as champions. I'm not too worried about them. Let's go into the schedule to show you what happened. Obviously, in the Championship, we were doing pretty well. We got ourselves into that playoffs where we took on Kilmarnock. Again, home form doing us the job there. We basically lose 3-2 away to Kilmarnock, which is a problem, especially when, as you can see on the right-hand side, you can see when they scored their goals, guys. Cammy Kerr scored in the 89th minute and Ian Murray scored in the 90th minute. And it doesn't help that Keggs got sent off in the 45th minute as well. We bring them back to the Dumbarton Football Stadium and we beat them 2-0 to progress to the relegation playoff final, where we took on Ayr United. As I said, we beat them 1-0 at home, and then the game away from home, a 3-3 draw, and Ayr United were throwing the kitchen sink at us towards the end of this game. We took a nice comfortable 3-0 lead, looked like we were having our promotion party early, and then they started to pull it back. They got a goal in the 57th minute, they got a goal in the 91st minute, they got a goal in the 94th minute, but luckily we held on to have our home form carry us into the Premiership, which is going to be a very, very big step up. If we go onto the home screen, I'm just going to switch this over to the player stats. Enzo again goes off. Top goal scorer, most assists. This guy is absolutely electric. He's done really well, again, coming in from AS Monaco. We've been raiding the French teams for some of these players, and he's come in and just been absolute sensation. 26 goals and 10 assists in all comps for him. Averaged over a 7 in the 2 years that he's been at Dumbarton. It's time. It's time for us to get into the Premiership. I'm ready for it. It's going to be a very interesting summer. If we go into the finances, guys, I have no finances. I have no transfer budget. However, I get an extra £20,000 a week to spend on wages. You can see the overall balance is 1.2 million over the summer. We have to become professional. There is no way we can be in the Scottish top flight without being professional, right? Okay, guys, so we are going into our first season in the Cinch Premiership. This is a very big season. And the first note, I do have to say, we are professional. Dumbarton FC is a professional football team. Yes, we are a professional football team. I said that I thought it was going to happen, and it definitely did happen. We are now a pro team, and this is how the transfers have gone for the season. Now, I got my business done really early here. As you can see, loads of these players signing on the 1st of July. I basically wanted to tap up all the players whose contracts were ending, but there is a couple that I do need to talk about first and foremost. Ewan Monroe joined really towards the end of last season, basically as a left-back cover, young Scottish player, got released by Celtic, so one that we jumped on really quickly. And Tommaso Mancini comes in as well, the former Juventus player, don't you know. Looks again quite good, nice high physical attributes. He's 6'3" and 21 years of age. Is he any relation to anybody? No. Just a Mancini, which is cool. Nice high finishing and heading and stuff like that. I think he can be a good player for us. And then let's talk about some of the other players that have come in. Del Coling has come in as our new goalkeeper. He's coming from Gibraltar, the Lincoln Red Imps. He is a 29-year-old Gibraltar international, 35 goal caps for Gibraltar. Looks okay, looks solid. It's an improvement for us. Obviously, we had a loan player from Swansea last season. Rak Sakyi comes in from, I believe it's Burnley. He was first and foremost to come in as another new fresh young body into our midfield. We also signed Ben Hockenhold from Tranmere Rovers. You can kind of see the level of players that we're picking players up from, like team-wise. He comes in from Tranmere. Former Manchester United player, though. Definitely never played for them, but that's fine. 24 years of age, again, looks pretty solid. A good little player for us, and I'm not even going to attempt to say this guy's name. Kabongo is how I'm going to call this guy. Striker, fast, good. 15 finishing, I think, is going to be exceptional at this level. Former Peterborough striker. Peterborough know how to sign strikers, so it's going to be an interesting one. He's been a bit of a journeyman. He's played a lot in loads of different clubs, so we're going to have to see how we get on. But for the fact that Peterborough paid a 350k for him, I think he's got something about him, despite the fact that they released him. Mandy comes in as another player for us in central midfield, again released by St Mirren, comes in as a new player for us in that midfield. If we go into our transfer history, there we go. And then he came in on loan. David Scott comes in from Celtic, the first of the new gens that are starting to come through, guys. Again, solid centre back for the level. coming in on loan from Celtic. Again, 6'2", 19 years of age, definitely one to keep hold of. And then Jamie Bullock comes in, another centre-back. This is his second loan spell at the club. This is the guy we got in a couple seasons ago from Hibs. They loaned him out to Partick Thistle last season. This season, he's back with us. When he was with us last time around, he was in League One and did okay for us, was relatively consistent. And now he's back to play in the Premiership. So that's going to be interesting to see how we get on. We quick pick without restriction, guys, our best 11. This is how we're looking. I'm actually quite happy with this for our first season. Keggs is going to have to go on and do good things. Kamara's going to have to go on and do good things. Enzo, I don't know if he can make the step up from the Championship. He was a good Championship goal scorer. It's going to be a big season to see how good he is from that perspective. I will say in our dev centre, I now have a reserve team. I've got an under-18s team, but I don't have enough players, so my under-18s team is my reserve team. But we are getting youth intakes now, guys, which is something to be aware of. We do have just the 3 tournaments now, the 3 competitions that we are in: the Scottish Cup and the Premier Sports Cup. We don't have that other SPFL Trust Trophy. We don't have that anymore, and we are the biggest team in this the Premier Sports Cup in our group. So being in the Premiership, so that's a goal to get out of the group stage for the first time in this competition. In the Cinch Premiership, though, we are expected to finish in the relegation spots. And looking at things, Celtic have just been emphatic every single season. Not a huge surprise, to be perfectly honest with you. If you have a look at the season preview, Celtic are favourites to win the title. Again, we are 700 to 1 to win the title. We are expected to finish stone dead last. So we're going to have to see what we can do. I'd like to stay in the division. I don't mind being in a relegation promotion battle, because the fact that we are professional now, if we were to get relegated, I actually still feel okay about it and coming back up and stuff like that. So let's get season number 5 in the books and see if Celtic win yet another SPL title. I'll tell you what, guys, we were comfortable in the Scottish Premiership. We have done really, really well. We have finished in 8th. We are comfortably safe, which is really, really nice for me. We were in the bottom tier once the league splits, but that's fine. That's where I was expecting to be. Rangers win the title in 26-27, so fair play to them. They've broken that dominance of Celtic, which is really nice to see, excuse me. We're picking up a lot of yellow cards, though. Robbie Fraser, Keggs, and Joshua Eze all get double digits in terms of bookings. Mancini comes in and is the 3rd top goal scorer in the division, which is nice to see, and also gets the tied first number of player of the matches. But you can see players like Todd Cantwell is at Hearts, for God's sake. Like, there's some good players here. Celtic have already got this guy as well from Hanover. He looks great for a 19-year-old youth intake player. And then we've got someone like a Carl Miller as well, another one from Ross County, or from Liverpool by the looks of things. Maybe is he from Liverpool? No, he's from Ross County and then went to Liverpool on a free. Interesting. So you can start to see the new gens coming in 5 seasons in, guys. So there's going to be some ludicrous talents in this division by the end of it, I'm sure. We got the job done, finished comfortably in 8th. We were not great, not awful, but we picked up victories at home. It seems like our home form is relatively solid, beating teams like St Johnstone, Dundee United, Motherwell. We went to Ibrox. Rangers beat us 8-1. Like, we're not that good. We went to Celtic Park. Celtic beat us 5-0. So you can kind of see what we're trying to do here. We're trying to get these scrappy victories at home and stuff like that to keep us in the division. And ultimately, it got the job done. We were in that relegation group where we beat Motherwell, we beat Dundee, drew with Ross County, and then lost to Livingston and St Mirren. But we stay in the division, guys. That is the main thing. In the other cups, we got to the quarterfinals of the Scottish Cup this time around, where we were knocked out by Celtic, and they also knocked us out in the second round of the Premier Sports Cup. But I will say the disparity between ourselves and Celtic is ludicrous, because if I go into the stats of the league, go into team detailed, then go into salary per annum, this is what I'm up against. Celtic are spending 47, almost 48 million pounds a year on salary. I've got 1.12 to spend. The gap between myself and Livingston isn't actually that much, but then the disparity between Celtic down to Rangers is almost another 10 mil, and then Rangers down is ridiculous, guys. It is absolutely ridiculous. The fact that there's 22 million in annual salary difference between second and third, ridiculous. Like, I'm gonna struggle to make this gap. I feel like I don't want this rebuild to just peter out, that we just finish in between 6th and like 10th every year, but I think it's going to be very difficult to start progressing when that is the disparity at the top of the division. Maybe winning a Scottish Premiership title is a little bit beyond us in 10 seasons, but we'll try our best. Let's talk season 6, because we're going to have some transfers to talk about. I'm basically going to slide it all into the wage budget, guys, so you can see it's going to be probably 8k a week that I'm gonna have to spend on players, which is solid. We're working on, we've improved our training facilities as well. That is now up to an 8, which is good. We're making good progress off the field. We are currently playing in the Port Glasgow Community Stadium, because if we go onto our facilities here, the Dumbarton Football Stadium is being expanded, so that's another thing that's coming up. We are improving off the field. Let's see what happens next season. Hay fever. Wow. So we are ready to start the 27-28 season. It is season number 6 with Dumbarton, and this is the transfer business that we've done. You can see we're pulling in good caliber players, I would say. Charlie Osborne is the first one to come in from Solihull Moors. He actually looks really good. He's got 15 pace, 15 acceleration for a central midfielder. I think he can cause a lot of trouble. 14 passing as well, high determination and stuff like that. Looks like a well-rounded player, former Bournemouth player, obviously, there, who went on to move to Solihull Moors. We brought in Luther James Weldon. He looks good as well for a fullback prospect. Solid tackling, marking and heading is kind of what I need at this level. Again, relatively decent physically, good consistency as well. He's got international experience. He's got 37 caps and 1 goal for Antigua and Barbuda. So yes, we love a bit of international experience here. We've also pulled in Jacob Mensah. This is a former Torquay United guy. He was a Crystal Palace trainee back in the day. Another nice, well-rounded centre-back for us again. But he is labelled as a decent championship player, so I'm hoping he can make a step up. Rio Shipston comes in. This is a massive pull for us. He came in from Sheffield Wednesday. He got released by Wednesday. He is now probably our star player. Supremely well-rounded. This is the kind of caliber of player I'm going to look to bring in every summer window now, and Rio comes in to be that player for us. We also picked up Francis here. Again, a player I'm not going to try and say his name, but he's fast and can play up front, so you can kind of see what I'm looking to do here. Hit people on the counter-attack with this. 2 fast, agile, athletic forwards, and I think Francis can give us a decent option there. And then we have Regan Clayton comes in as a fullback for us on this left-hand side, former West Ham trainee, but we got him on a free transfer from Hull City. He did play in League One last season in England for Wigan, so again, that's the kind of caliber of player. We have sold our first player though. Romain wanted to leave, which I'm not surprised. You know, when you grow up in France, grow up in Lyon, and you come to the Scottish Championship and then the Scottish Premiership, it's a bit of a culture shock. Venezia wanted him and paid 120k. That was his minimum fee release clause. That is a lot of money for a player, for us, to be perfectly honest. So he has departed as well. So that was the main outgoing. 120k we've made this summer transfer window. Oh, baby. We are overspending slightly on our wage budget, but I think it's something that we can definitely handle. If we go into the competitions tab, guys, this is how we're looking this season. The board expectation, again, is to finish in the relegation playoff. I just want to better that, just to kind of keep growing this team. Premier Sports Cup, obviously Scottish Cup as well. If we have a look at the Cinch Premiership, you can see Raith Rovers were promoted last season, but Dumbarton are still predicted to finish bottom of the league. I will give a shout out to some of the other players in the division. Brandon Williams, I thought that was Brandon Williams, it's Dylan Williams. Marcus Antonio is at Celtic. Billy Gilmore is at Rangers. We've got Isaiah Jones. I thought it was going to be Curtis Jones on this side. There's some big boy players in these clubs, man. And obviously this new gen wonder kid. Yeah, he's quite good, isn't he? Picked him up from Hanover. I touched on him before in the video, I'm sure I did. So Rangers are champions. They are not the favourites to win the title. It is Celtic, just about. They're both in the Champions League, both of those. So again, that's where the disparity comes from. If you get into the Champions League, the money is there. Let's get through season number 6 and see how we get on. Last season, we finished in 8th. This season, we finished in 8th as well. We continue to be the middle ground, basically. We were in the relegation battle again, but we're relatively comfortable, to be perfectly honest. We were in that relegation section, but we weren't ever at threat from actually being relegated. Rangers go on to win a second consecutive title and Celtic actually finish in third. Hibs go on to finish in second, so we'll qualify for the Champions League. That'll be interesting to share a bit more cash about. To see what happens with them, but 105 goals for Rangers is absolutely ludicrous. We got to the quarterfinals of the 2 domestic cups as well, knocked out by Aberdeen in the Scottish Cup and knocked out by Rangers in the Premier Sports Cup, but we're not at this level. We're not at that level. Tommaso Mancini goes on to be our top goal scorer, 26 goals, 9 assists for him. He wants to move to a club with a stronger squad. This is what I was worried about with some of these players that I was pulling in. I was kind of worried that they would have to depart, and it looks like that's what it is. From early on in the season, we've been in 8th. We've not really threatened to be much higher than 8th. Towards the end of the season, as you can see in this relegation group, we finished the season pretty ropey, but we lost to Celtic and Aberdeen as well. But then we drew with Hearts, lost to Motherwell, beat Wraith, beat Livingston, drew with Dundee. We were in no relegation trouble, but we've kind of closed the gap. I mean, you know, we lost 8-1 to Rangers last season. A 2-2 there is not the end of the world. It was 8-1 last season at Ibrox. It's now 7-0. Is that better? I don't know if that's better because we didn't score. Let me know down in the comments. Is that better? I think it's better. We lost 7-1 to Celtic as well. So you can kind of see the disparity again is still big. It is still big, but we are closing that gap, I feel. We had 52 points this season, 52 last season, 52 this season, and 41 last season to finish in the same position, but we are 11 points better off. So ultimately, I'm classing that as a better season. A lot of progress as well. If we go into the finances tab, you can see 37 grand a week in wage budget as well. We've got 160 transfer budget. We are still improving things off the field slowly. It doesn't look like it, but we are improving things off the field, but we're going to try and hold on to as many players as possible because we've got a couple people who are unhappy. Tommaso Mancini is our top goal scorer as well, wanting to leave. Not ideal. Let's see what we can do into the summer transfer window for season number 7. Okay, guys, so going into season number 7, this was our big worry. Where would Tommaso Mancini be playing his football next season? Would it still be at Dumbarton? No, he's not. He's gone to West Brom, and I'm devastated. He was a top player for us. West Brom came in and paid 575k for him. He will be going and playing in the Sky Bet Championship in England. He's had 2 good years for us, basically averaging a goal every other game. I'm thinking he can go on and do really good things at West Brom. But this is the man we brought in to replace him, Ricky Jade Jones, the former, again, Peterborough striker, comes in. 17 pace, 16 acceleration. I think, again, he can cause a little bit of damage on the counter-attack. He's not quite the player of Mancini. Mancini was 6'3" and much better in the air. Ricky J. Jones, all about on the floor or the ball over the top to get on top and in behind defences. So he comes in. So if we go into our tactic and quick pick without restriction, our best 11, as you can see, guys, we are low on bodies. I've got a squad of 13 players. We've got some interesting bodies here that we're kind of working with as well. I think we're struggling a little bit. If we go into our transfers, guys, and have a look at the ins, I'm trying to pull in a couple more players, as you can see here. But yeah, it's not going great for the boys. It's not going great for the boys. We are very low on players. I'm probably going to have to dip into our reserves. But to put it politely, the players that you get from this sort of level of intake is just not there. It's just not there. I really need a central midfielder. Robbie Fraser is a left back. He is very much not a central midfielder. I need to get more bodies in, but what can I say? We're about to start the League Cup Group F. That's where the season starts, so that's where we're going to have to go. We played my team, Bristol City, in pre-season, got pumped. So good. In terms of the competitions, obviously the board are expecting, again, fight the relegation playoff. I'd like to slowly start finishing in the top bit, but it's just not happening. We are now 1,000 to 1 to win the title. We've definitely gone backwards, which is not what you want. Rangers are favourites to win the title now. They've got some good players in there as well, as do Celtic, who will be looking to bounce back. Obviously, they were in 3rd last season, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. I need more players. I cannot go into a season with 13 players, otherwise I will be going down. I am calling this progress. We have moved into the top echelon of Scottish football. We are finishing in 5th this season with a -2 goal difference. We're not quite ready just yet. Rangers go on to win a 3rd consecutive title on goal difference. Them and Celtic both finished on 85 points. But we got ourselves into 5th, guys, and that is because if I go into our transfers and take a look at some stuff, we had a lot of movement in the end, guys. Obviously, I touched on Tomiasso Mancini going. We had a lot more movement after that as well. Sam Raksaki went to West Brom as well. They picked up another player. Ewan Monroe went to Bradford City for 500k. Charlie Osborne, the guy we picked up from Solihull Moors, he left the club for £1 million as well. Rio Shipston, the guy who I said we got in from Sheffield Wednesday, he has now departed. He is now playing at Norwich. And then we've also got rid of Kabongo as well for 75k. He went to QPR. It was his minimum fee release clause, so he is gone as well. So you can see we had a lot of money coming in, which allowed me to do a little bit more wheeling and dealing. We kind of did bring in a lot more bodies in the end of the season. Players that I have actually heard of. Carl McGuinness, the former Hibs central attacking midfielder. He was quite good for us this season, actually. 5 goals, 8 assists for the boy. He did quite well there. And we also signed this new gen. Which one is he? This guy. Massimo Minchel. He looks very, very good. Former Chelsea youth prospect. He was on loan at Luton, then got released by Chelsea. No surprise there. Picked him up on a free transfer. I'd like to make a few quid on him. As you can see, he's now valued at 2.3 to 3.1 million pounds. And we also picked up this guy as well, Jordan Ferguson, on loan from Bolton Wanderers, former Ross County youth player. He was on loan for us after Bolton got relegated. We picked him up on loan with an option to buy. We have bought. The mandatory future fee was 75k, so we bought him. Nice strong leader, 21 years of age, Scottish lad as well, also helped. So you can see some of the moves that we did. 3.3 million pounds coming into the club, just reinvesting it into a lot of youth players and a lot of other like top quality players who were on free transfers who I wasn't actually going to be able to afford before. Francis popped off for us though. He got 20 goals for us, average the top average rating as well. Brandon Hanlon, the former Bristol Rovers player, he came in and he did all right. He's again relatively quick. He is 32 years of age now, but we do need to improve. There's lots of bodies in here. The -2 in terms of goal difference is pretty poor. In terms of the other competitions though, guys, knocked out the 5th round of the Scottish Cup and the 2nd round of the Premier Sports Cup. Not great in some of these as well, but we have really closed that gap. We lost. Where are the big ones? Where are the big thumpings? That's what we all want to see. 2-0 away at Ibrox. That is a massive improvement on the 7-0 last season. And where is the one at Celtic Park? 3-1 away at Celtic Park. So we've definitely improved, but the disparity is still there, guys, to be honest. If we go into the Cinch Premiership and have a look at the team detailed, salary per annum, we are now 9th. Again, this gap at the top just continues to stay about the same. But we are closing in slowly. We've overtaken St Johnstone, St Mirren and Livingston now in terms of salary, so we are expected to do a little bit better, but we are still punching above our weight. I also need to touch on this guy who's come in. Tommy Lonergan came in from St Patrick's Athletic. He's got 2 caps for Ireland, has the boy now. He came in on a free transfer at the end of his contract. He's been playing in the Irish League and he's done really, really well for us. Came in 13 goals, 13 assists, but he only joined in the January when the League of Ireland season ended. So he looks like a good player for us, and I'm hoping I can use him a lot next season to push on. Let's talk about season number 8. Wage budget is, I'm basically on the limit of it, so we need to kind of see what we can do here. I do have a few players who are who were wanted. Mensah's wanted. Robbie Fraser is listed. We've got a couple players who are wanted, so we're going to have to see what we can do in this summer window, because we've got some good players. Again, as you can see here, some of these boys that are high ability. I think I'm going to have clubs in England sniffing around them, so we're going to have to see what we can do. So let's talk transfers for season number 8, and we've lost our top goal scorer for a 2nd season in a row. Francis has departed. He has now gone to Ipswich Town for 450k. Ellis O'Shea, I have to touch on it as well. He has gone to Derby County, the midfielder that we did have. Again, like, we're just losing players left, right, and Christmas, basically. At least we're getting some money for him. And also Jacob Mensah went for 4.6k. It's what it is, isn't it? He went to Bradford City as well. So we've had lots of players, guys, that have departed, which has been An interesting one again, if you look at the overall last season versus this season, 75k spent to bring in Jordan Ferguson versus the 4.3 million in transfers out. It's allowed us to up our budget though. We do have some really good players coming in now. Connor Balogun, another new gen, comes in from Tottenham. Good high passing ability on this guy to play in central midfield for us. Ben House comes in, another forward. It's always nice to have a couple Scottish players in the team still or in the squad. He came in on a free transfer. We also signed this guy, Santiago Hidalgo. He came in. I didn't actually realise this guy's played in England the majority of his career. Former Independiente player, went over to Norwich, bounced around a couple loan spots, Oxford, Birmingham, Tranmere, and then they got released by Norwich and we picked him up on a free transfer. He looks quite good. 16 dribbling, 16 off the ball, 16 balance. I think he could be a danger in this league. We also picked up this guy, Yusuf Joseph. He came in, another new gen that has been knocking around the divisions. Again, looks relatively solid. Came through Nottingham Forest, had a couple loan spells out at Burton and Salford. Was playing in Sky Bet League 1 last season, then got released, so we picked him up. Giacomo Faticanti comes in, the former Roma player. Yes, this guy has played league fixtures for Roma. Not for a couple seasons, but he's played 44 times for Roma. So I think anyone who's played in Serie A can probably come in and improve this team a little bit. So Fatih Kanti has done that one as well. And we've also picked up this guy as well, Fagan Walcott, because he's fast. 16 pace, 17 acceleration, high speed, high consistency. A good squad player for us there, which is nice to see. So the team now looking very different. We're starting to get relatively new gen heavy. If we quick pick without restriction our best 11, you can see a big hole in here. I don't have a goalkeeper as things stand. I let the Gibraltar international go because he wasn't really at the level. So yeah, we're going to have to see what we can do here. I also need to touch on this guy as well. Massimo Minchel, the new gen that I said we picked up. He is joining Fulham. Fulham paid some money for him. He will be joining Fulham. We got 5 million quid for him. He's going to Fulham, but he's back on loan for us for the season, which is really, really good. But he's still not going to plug the gap that we have at goalkeeper. You can see the players that we've got in the team now. They're quite good. This strike force, Longagan and Hidalgo, I'm looking forward to seeing what those two boys can do together. Same with Joseph and Balogun once they get a couple seasons into them. But in terms of the transfers, guys, you can see we are working on some players. Obviously, there is a transfer of Massimo for 5 million quid. We're working on a couple of others, though. Tian Troost is the hope. I'm hoping this is the goalkeeper we get. He's currently waiting to receive a work permit. He looks quite good. Former Feyenoord goalkeeper. I like him. 6'2", good enough physicals, solid positioning. His reflexes are pretty poor, but beggars can't be choosers at this point. And then we're trying to pick up this guy, Junior Diaz. Now, I've been scouting this guy for a little while. 325k, but we got 5 mil for Massimo. So we're going to try and snap this guy up from Venezuela. Yes, the Wonder Kid filter is back in effect. We're using it to try and strengthen our team with players like Junior Diaz. In terms of the competitions, though, for season number 8, the board continue to want us to just avoid relegation. This is our year to push on, I think. If I can sign that goalkeeper, this is our year to push on. I'm really happy with the team. We're now 200 to 1. We were 1,000 to 1 last season. So we are really climbing. I'd like to be a little bit better in some of the cups, potentially. That would be really nice. But you can see some of the, like Billy Gilmore's here. Tommy Doyle is at Rangers as well. Pablo Torre is at Rangers as well. Ben Brereton Diaz, the Chilean international, of course. He's at Celtic as well. So there's some good players in this division still. But I'm hoping this is our statement year for the Cinch Premiership. Obviously, we do have the Scottish Cup, the Premier Sports Cup. Let's see what we can do. It's season number 8. This is a long-ass rebuild, guys, so I appreciate anyone who is still here. I really do appreciate you. Let's get season 8 done and dusted. So I wanted season 8 to be a statement year for us, and it really was. We got ourselves into 3rd in the Cinch Premiership. Yes, we were flying 3rd with a +3 goal difference. You love to see it. We are miles behind Celtic and Rangers, but I don't care. We finished in 3rd, which means we qualify for Europe next season. Massive shout out to Tommy. Tommy Lonergan has absolutely smashed it. 29 goals, 10 assists for the boy in all comps. He's absolutely crushed it. Massimo, before he departs away to Fulham, had a very good season as well. 11 assists for him. And Santiago Hidalgo had 11 assists as well as 22 goals. So 33 goal contributions in 47 appearances for this guy. He did really, really well as well. Truce did come in and be our goalkeeper for the season. He only kept 13 clean sheets all season. Don't really care. A very good player for us. Has done really, really nicely in net. We did pick up Junior Diaz as well. He did come in. He is now valued at 1.3 to 2 million pounds. And he is now part of the Venezuela international setup. We paid 325k for him. He looks like a good player. So we are going into Europe next season. We also won the Scottish Cup, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we got to the final. It's a boring one. We got to the final. We drew 0-0 all the way through the game. Offered not a lot. 5 shots, 0 on target. But what we can do, ladies and gents, we can score penalties. Yeah, goddamn right we can. Fernandez, House, Jones and Smith all scored. Pollock and Leons Foster missed the penalties for Hearts. Unlucky Hearts. We go on to lift the Scottish Cup. Obviously, you can see our goalkeeper's had a worldie there. He's at an 8.4 in this final. They had 6 shots on target, 1.27 XG. Our goalkeeper's bailed us out there. Trian Troost, this is why I said absolute legend. Winning us the Scottish Cup. You love to see it. I wasn't expecting us to get a Scottish Cup, but now if we go into the club info and we go on the overview, we've got 2 Scottish Cups, 1883 and 2030. It's ridiculous. It is 2030, but it's ridiculous. We've got ourselves another title there. Let's talk about the Cinch Premiership. Let's open this up fully. We qualify for the Europa League, guys. We're not in the Champions League, of course. We finish in 3rd, so we qualify for the Europa League. Also, Scottish Cup winners as well. I believe they do qualify for the Europa League. Hearts and St Mirren qualify for the Conference League. But again, the disparity between ourselves and Celtic and Rangers is still there, despite the fact that we are getting selling players that we are picking up for free on big money. Our annual wage budget now is 4.77 million, so we are kind of in the realms of where we need to be, but the difference between ourselves and 50 million up to Celtic is just a take, to be perfectly honest. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's a bit of a take. We will be competing in the Europa the Europa League next season. Whoa. We have £14,000 a week in terms of our wage budget, but you can notice the overall balance of the club is in the red, 1.8 million, and that is because if I go into here and go into the facilities, we are due to move to a new stadium. We are building the Dumbarton Stadium. It's no longer the Dumbarton Football Stadium. We're moving to the Dumbarton Stadium, which has got a capacity of just under 15k. And we will move there at the end of season number 9. So it's going to be really, really interesting. But yeah, we're pushing this club forward on and off the field. I'm trying to improve as much as I can, but they just don't want to improve junior coaching or youth recruitment. So we're going into the Europa League. Let's go and see if that has enabled us to boost this reputation just a touch and see if we can bring in some bigger, better players for season number 9. So season number 9, Europa League season and Scottish Cup winners. Let's see what we can do. We have been able to sell players for an absolute wedge yet again. Connor Balogun is now a Everton player. Again, he went, Everton bought him but loaned him straight back because he has a lot of promise. Obviously, as you can see, I'm really happy with being able to sell a player. £3.8 million to have him back on loan is fantastic. Santiago Hidalgo, he is now a Sheffield United player. I assume he's only going to be a squad player for them, but they picked him up for £5 million. What division is Sheffield United in? They're in the Premier League. He's going to be a squad player, but £5 million to a Premier League team is absolutely sweet FA. So he's gone to Sheffield United. Fatih Kanti didn't really work out. He's gone back to Italy for 15.5k. Didn't break the bank there. Juan Diaz has gone as well, and as has Connor Smith. Some of the youngsters in our team. Again, yeah, some of these guys not really going to cut it. Obviously, the incomings, Balogun on loan. We picked up this guy as well, Bruno Sosa. Been out shopping in Uruguay. This guy looks exceptional as well. We picked him up for £1.7 million from Defensor Sporting. He is now valued at 15 to 16.5 million pounds. It's a huge improvement for us. We also picked up this guy, David Oliver, on a free from Ipswich Town. Again, starting forward vibes from for me here. 17 composure is really, really high. Likes big matches. He's got good composure, as I just mentioned. A decent Premiership player, and he has the potential to be a good Premiership player as well. Hopefully, he can kind of grow into that, because it looks like he's not really played enough with Ipswich being in the Championship there. We also picked up this guy, Nuno Montero. God, I cannot talk today. From France again, another centre-back, looks like a beast. 15 jumping reach, 6'4", 20 determination, 13 heading, 16 bravery. He's a good little centre-back, and you know he can kind of grow into being a good little player for us. He was part of that first youth intake that was part of the game ages ago. He is now 32 years of age. David McGivern comes in as a free transfer, backup goalkeeper for us vibes, nothing more, nothing less, on a free transfer. Mateus Fernandez comes in on a free transfer. This is another one who got released by Watford. They paid £15.5 million for him IRL from from Sporting earlier on in this save, and then just let him go for free. So we picked him up as well. A nice little player for us, Mateus Fernandez. And then this is the latest one. Ernest Poku comes in, 16 pace, 17 acceleration. Again, we are a counter-attacking team, guys. That's how we play, and this is how the team is looking now. If we quick pick without restriction our best 11, this is how we're looking, guys. We've got some players in. I don't like the players in on loan, to be perfectly honest. Massimo is back again on loan again, and as I mentioned, Balogun is still on loan from Everton. Tommy Lonergan wants a new deal to reflect his ability, but the man wants me to basically double his salary, and I don't have the facilities for that, big man. So I'm kind of struggling there because the club decided we needed a new stadium rather than to invest into everything else. But we're well-rounded in the division. We're well-rounded. All of our players are basically a 3-star player in their position, which is great. No superstars, just a good team of hard workers. If we go into the competitions, though, we have 4 competitions this year. We have the Europa League, where we will enter in that league phase, which is going to be really interesting to see how we get on. The board wants us to get to the quarterfinals of both domestic cups, and now the expectation has changed. They want us to finish in mid-table. That salary alteration has really bumped us up, so they now want us to finish in mid-table, which is where we will try and ultimately finish. If we go into the season preview, we're now predicted to finish in 7th, 101 to win the title, and the teams around me keep improving. Firmino is a very good player playing at Rangers, as is Desiree Dewey. He comes in, he's a wonder kid, guys, so comes into the team for Rangers, which is going to be interesting to see if they can make it 5 in a row, because Celtic made it 5 in a row beforehand. If we go and take a look at everything else, I think we are ready to rock and roll with this team. I cannot believe I managed to get this team up into the Europa League. So let's see what happens as we take this team into a European adventure. What a performance. What a team. Season number 9 was absolutely ludicrous. This is the competitions tab. We were runners-up in the Scottish Cup. We got to the Scottish Cup final again. This time Hibs were too good for us. Kind of played us off the park, and Truce could not do his heroics from the season before. We lose to Hibs, who win the Scottish Cup, which is fair play to them. In terms of the Europa League, guys, we'll touch on that in a second. We got to the quarterfinals before getting dumped out by Lyon. And let's talk about the Cinch Premiership, because if we have a look at the league table, we finished in 2nd. We will qualify for the Champions League. Yes, there's more spots, so the top 3 qualify for the Champions League, but we will be playing Champions League football with Dumbarton in season number 10. And if our Europa League run is anything to go by, I think we could do okay. Now, let's talk Europa League, because it's absolutely ridiculous. Europa League. So you can see in the league phase, Nordsjælland, Olympia, Nice Young Boys, Dinamo Batumi, HJK. We beat Roma, we beat Genk, which is really nice to see. We then took on Slavia Prague in the first knockout round, that round of 16. We drew 2-2 in Prague, and then we beat them 4-2 at home, and then Lyon was a step too far. We lost 5-2 at home, we lost 3-0 away. The fact that we beat Roma in the league phase is fantastic. Ernest Poku with a 92nd minute winner there. Beating Genk as well is very impressive. Lonergan with a penalty ability there to get the job done. We were actually quite good in the league phase, as you can see here. We're in good company. Some interesting clubs in here though. Wolves, Sevilla, obviously Europa League specialists, Betis, Southampton, Stuttgart, Sassuolo, Feyenoord, Lyon, Roma, Porto. There are some big teams in this competition. Obviously Red Star there, the boys. So there's some big teams in there, but we got some more money into the club. That is what this was all about, guys. That was what it was all about, the Europa League. And the boys have been fantastic. The boys have been fantastic. Going into season number 10, Champions League is here, baby. We're going to be opening our new stadium at the start of next season as well, season number 10. So it's going to be great to see. We got 4.7 million to spend. I'm going to probably move a decent amount of that into the wage budget, which will basically almost allow us to double our wage budget for the season, which is great. Obviously, the Champions League money is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. And if we go and take a look at our history, you can see the rise of Dumbarton has been fantastic. The facilities, though, are still not great. 10 training facilities, 4 on-use facilities. I've basically decided I want to focus on training facilities because it impacts what I'm doing the most right now. And then if we were to get a couple seasons in the Champions League, then you can use that money to facilitate and cascade down. But that's what we are going to try and do for season number 10. We've got a big summer transfer window ahead of us. Let's see how we can take this team to the next level. In this summer window, going into the 10th and final season, we had the biggest transfer that this club has ever seen. Bruno Souza is now a Fulham player. He will find himself playing in the Premier League. We had him for a season, and what a season it was. He did really well. Played 33 times for us in the Premiership, which is great. He is now going over to the Premier League. We paid £1.7 million for him. He is now gone to Fulham for 16.25. They activated his minimum fee release clause. He is gone. That is a massive transfer for us, guys. He was here for a year, the Wonder Kid filter doing its business, and then we move on. I have to say, we also got Yusuf Joseph gone as well. He went over to Cardiff City. He is a star player at Cardiff, looks fantastic for them. Obviously, the former Nottingham Forest youngster. He went for 3.5 million quid. Again, another player that we got for free at the end of a contract. Is great, but we used some of that money and we've reinvested it into some of these players. So Hayden Helling comes in from Swansea. He looks like a nice well-rounded midfielder to slot into our midfield. We paid 3.03 million quid for him. It's a former Manchester United youth prospect, so you know he's of a good level. We went back over to Blackpool, believe it or not, to pick up this young Mexican, Hector Emanuelo Partida. Looks good. Obviously playing at Blackpool, which I don't understand why he was ever at Blackpool. I'm clicking too many buttons. There we go. Now we can see Blackpool bought him from Bordeaux for 1.2 million. They got relegated from the EFL Championship and we picked him up for 4.8 million, which was his minimum fee release clause. He is a winger by trade, but I want to play him in the central attacking midfield box. He's got high work rate, high teamwork and stuff like that. I think he could be a good little player for us. Nelson Albornoz comes in from Boca Juniors. Yes, I've been shopping in South America again. 6'4", 16 jumping reach, high bravery. Looks really good. Good on both feet as well. Elite tier player again. This is the kind of player you go and sell on for a big profit. If I can double my money on him as well, that would have been fantastic. And then this guy, Leandro Ramos, comes in to be our new goalkeeper, guys. He cost me next to nothing. 69k. Yep. Do what you like with that. 69k. He's been playing in Uruguay for Wanderers. 69k comes in. He's going to be my starting goalkeeper this year, I feel. 20 determination, 16 at one-on-ones. He's a good player for the division. Likes big matches, likes the one-on-ones, as I said. So hopefully he can go on to be a good tier player for us. Josh Wilson Esbrand comes in from, he obviously the former Man City player. He was on a free transfer as well. Picked him up from Sunderland. Sunderland released him. Danny McNamara comes in, 32 years of age. But if you're good enough, it doesn't matter what age you are, despite the fact that he's 32. Looks great as well, coming in on a free transfer. He's played Championship and League One level for the last few seasons, so I think he'll be fine in this team. And then Archie Brown is the last one to come in on left back position. Another fast player to play on that left hand side. Hates big matches, so probably won't play in a lot of those. If we go into the competitions tab though, Champions League Dumbarton. Yes, Champions League Dumbarton are here. And we go into the league phase. I'm not expecting us to do really well in the league phase, guys. I think we'll get pumped in a lot of the league phase games, but is what it is. Money talks, bullshit walks. And we got Champions League football for Dumbarton. I'd like to maybe get a domestic cup. The board want us to reach the quarterfinals in both of those and finish mid-table in the cinch premiership. If we have a look at the season preview, this is how we are looking. We are predicted finishing 6th, 33-1 to win the title. Let's see what happens in the 10th and final season of rebuilding Dumbarton. Okay, so thank you very much to anyone who has actually sat here and watched for this length of time. This recording is going to be well over an hour. The video is going to be well over an hour. I appreciate anyone who's still here. I really appreciate you guys, honestly. If we dive into the competitions tab, it's been a relatively up and down season, to be perfectly honest. We got to the semi-finals of the Premier Sports Cup where we were knocked out by Hibs 3-0, pretty comprehensive. We got to the 5th round of the Scottish Cup where we got knocked out by Celtic in extra time. They scored all 3 of their goals in extra time. And then let's talk about the Champions League, shall we? If we talk about the Champions League, let's filter these out and we go into the Champions League. Now, I wasn't expecting anything more than this. The record's not great. We lost 1-0 to Celta Vigo. We drew 1-1 with Rennes. Alex Collado saving them with a 94th minute penalty. We lost away to Frankfurt in Germany. We lost 4-0 to Leipzig, again in Germany. We drew 2-2 with Liverpool at home, though, which is good and a fantastic result. We then lost 3-0 to Benfica, 7-0 to Inter Milan, and then 3-0 to Barcelona. But look, guys, it's one of those things. First season in the Champions League. We're a small team in relative size. We got 2 points. We got a draw with Liverpool. We took on Liverpool at home and we didn't lose. I think it's fantastic for a first season in the Champions League. I think we've absolutely smashed it. But this is the one that's on the screen right now. Let's open it up. The competitions tab, cinch premiership, the league table. We are champions. I don't know how this happened. I was not expecting this to happen. I don't know how this happened. We will go and investigate together. We put on a nice little run towards the end of the season. Don't get me wrong. I was seeing the results come through and I was like, oh, another victory. Nice. Doing well. Dropping a couple points. I was like, okay, title's gone. We'll have to see what happened to Celtic. David Oliver was our top goal scorer, though, the new gen who we got from Ipswich Town. He's now wanted by Bristol City. He looks very, very good. Has developed quite nicely for us. 23 goals and 6 assists in all competitions for him. David Oliver was our top goal scorer, highest average rating. Mateus Fernandez and Hayden Pelling with 10 assists apiece. Really, really good. This is how the team is looking at the end of the season, guys. So if we quick pick without restriction our best 11, this is how we're looking. Ramos is now established as our goalkeeper. We've got the young Scotsman Ferguson there. Montero is still knocking around. Archie Brown. We're a good team, guys. We're a good team. I'm so happy with how this has turned out, to be honest. Esposito is another young player that we got on a free transfer, former Inter Milan player. Yeah, we just pulled in some really, really fantastic players. Lots of goals in these boys as well. Partilla did turn into a very good central attacker midfielder for us, as you would expect. 10 goals, 4 assists. I'd like him to grow on that if we were to do another season. Let's go find out what happened, guys. Let's go find out what happened for us to win the Premiership title. Because if we have a look at our fixtures, you can see towards the end we were pretty solid throughout the course of the end of the season. We lost away at Rangers, is kind of to be expected. Only 2-1 now, so we're definitely putting up much more of a fight. Drawing with Celtic, but then we go into the Championship group. So in our Championship group, we beat Hibs, we beat Rangers at home, we drew away with Aberdeen, we beat St Johnstone, then we beat Celtic on the final day of the season to win the title. Celtic were massively clear at the start of the season. As you can kind of see, they've absolutely annihilated. They had a tough time in the Champions League, but this run of games here is absolutely ridiculous. Obviously disrupted by the fact they lost 2-0 to Bayern, but it is what it is. But they finished the season so badly. The knockout in the Scottish Cup semi-final seems to have completely derailed them because they didn't win a game in the Championship group in Scotland. They lost to Rangers, lost to Aberdeen, drew with St Johnstone, drew with Hibs, and then lost 1-0 to us on the final day of the season. Gianluca Esposito sees us win the title at Celtic Park. Wow. Off the field, I will update you guys. Our training facilities are now ranked as a 12. The youth facilities are now at a 6. The junior coaching is now at a 3. We've improved some stuff off the field. The Dumbarton Stadium, our new stadium, built in 2031, a capacity of just under 15k. It has a good expansion capacity, almost 30k. We've been fantastic. I've loved this rebuild every step of the way. It's been brilliant. And now we have a cinch premiership to add to our Scottish Cup in 10 seasons. I can't believe it. If you guys wanted to carry on this save, you can do. I will put it in my Discord. Links to that are down below. And as I mentioned, guys, anyone who has stayed this whole time, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching my content. If you like the rebuilds, check out this playlist. It's all of the rebuilds that we've done on FM23 so far.